Good morning. Very early, nice, lovely early morning in Australia here, a little fresh. I would like to have a bit of a chat about a man called Graham Hancock. Graham Hancock is someone I admire tremendously. The man has got a stupendous brain. He's brilliant at retaining facts, retaining names, and backing himself up in a debate by alerting us to the fact that he has all this information ready like a computer. You press a button and it comes out of him. It's absolutely brilliant to watch. It's all inspiring. He'll never have dementia, that man. But I heard people argue against him. They call him all these names and all things like that, like they do, and they call scientists. Well, it's best thing to do is ask what a scientist is. The thing about it is, anyone can be a scientist. Graham Hancock is a scientist. He's asking questions. Therefore, he is a scientist. The problem with scientists are, or the word people call themselves scientists because they're, whatever they're geologists or whatever they are, they're scientists or archaeologists. Archaeology is not really a science because there's no exact proof of anything, only occasionally. The problem with orthodox science, it has come to an end, a sort of an end in itself, because the end in itself is it preaches to students. Instead of becoming scientists now, they're like preachers. They own the knowledge and the students pay for it. Right? The students in the universities got massive amounts of debt, get into debt to pay for the knowledge owned by these preachers, well, scientists. Yes, you need proof and evidence and all that to prove a theory and all that. But the theory of what Graham Hancock works on is very relevant. And anyone who understands the world at an ice age and the seas dropped by 300 feet or whatever it was, even as a kid, as a 12-year-old, I realised that there's something missing in the world's history, because obviously people live near the coast, and all the coast is 10 million square miles or whatever it is of coast have been inundated. Massive areas of land, the most fertile places on earth, have been inundated with water for some reason. And that raises a massive amount of questions about humanity. So I want to put a thing about humanity and its evolutionary tract, to put it into perspective right now, to back up what Graham Hancock says, and about Göbekli Tepe. And the thing about that is, yes, hunter-gatherers may have chiseled it out, but they did not know geometry. No hunter-gatherer sits around working out geometry. You've got to have a geometric brain to be a hunter, that's for sure, because you've got to outwit your prey. That's what geometry is thinking ahead in geometric lines and how you're going to outmaneuver your prey. That's natural. But when it comes to setting up a building or a structure, that's technical. It's a great leap. You don't make that overnight, unless of course there could be genius amongst them. But that was done by an organised people who then passed the knowledge or transferred the knowledge onto whoever they were in that area. Everyone was hunters and gatherers at some stage. Not long ago, everyone was a hunter and gatherer. There's no place who haven't been hunters and gatherers. And today, as Graham Hancock says, people live in the jungles of Brazil, and there's some people living in apartments in New York who'll never see the sky and sit in front of a screen. And that's their life, run by robots. Some people have never heard of robots. So the fact that there could be advanced civilizations or cultures 12,000 years ago or more is predicated on this evolutionary fact, evolutionary of technology. Never mind evolution of man, but evolution of technology. If on the general thesis, orthodox thesis, it's taken 5,000 years to go from the Stone Age or whatever, 6,000 years, whatever it is, that time doesn't matter, but it's taken about 6,000 years to go from Stone Age to now, we're in the robot age, ability to go to the stars if we really get into it. It took 5,000 years. Okay, so same man, modern human, just for orthodox sake, just to stick with the orthodox picture, which there's no proof of, it's only orthodoxy. Same man has been this smart till 100,000 years. And there's been all these changes to the Earth's climate and how it is in that period. Well, from say 100,000 years ago, we know there were Stone Age people, but in 5,000 years, why couldn't they have gone from that Stone Age situation somewhere in the world, but it doesn't exist anymore, in 5,000 years gone to some advanced technology, or 10,000 years an advanced technology, and got wiped out? And then it could happen again, and get wiped out again. How many ice ages have there been? The ice ages erode so much evidence, it's like a wiping clean all the time. As Plato said, they had to start again. It's that period of time. If you look at how don't forget how man evolves, think how technology evolves itself. One idea leads to another. People like to solve problems. There's a competition amongst humans to solve problems because it's the genetic challenge what creates that competitive nature in humans. So we look, we're actually competing for women. That's what we're doing. By overcoming these challenges, look at me, I've done this or whatever. It's like a genetic competition. It's just biology. 5,000 years ago, or 6,000 years ago, whenever it was, and people was in the Stone Age, and they went, whoop, Bronze Age, and all the Iron Age, and right through to now. Now, there is no reason why 20,000 years or 25,000 years or whatever, you couldn't have that same pattern occur. And then it starts at the Stone Age, and of course you've got people Stone Age at the same time. We've got Aboriginal people in Australia who would prefer to go back to that time now. And then you've got people in Australia who live in an extremely advanced situation. So even in the one country you've got this massive difference. So to say it can't happen that everyone was Stone Age all at once 20,000 years ago or whatever, it's not a scientific statement at all. It's orthodox statement, because these people, science used to be where people didn't, universities were somewhere to went and learn and you broaden your knowledge, and but now, all universities, because it's all about paying for a fee, putting value on a course, you have to have the course has to be set to pass an exam. You can't go over the course, you can't have your own mind anymore, you can't come up with a new idea for climate change or anything else, or biology, or you can't come up with new ideas because you won't pass an exam. And you have to pass an exam to get the value out of your university course. And that's why so many people, so-called scientists, and anyone can be a scientist according to the Britannica, anyone can be a scientist at all you do is ask questions. That's how science came about. All you got to do is have a theory to be a scientist. That's all you have to be. It's a common name, it's a commonality. It's amongst all humans. You don't have to be officially or technically assigned as a scientist to be a scientist. Otherwise, you're limiting the knowledge to only a few small enclaves. It's like the preachers 400 or 500 years ago. The preachers in the churches, they owned all the knowledge till they made the printing press and all that, and then knowledge become general. Now they've gone back to a dark age situation where only preachers in universities called scientists own the knowledge. And they can't have people like Graham Hancock, who's not a scientist, even though man's bloody brilliant, cleverer than any scientist I've heard talk. Now I've been listening to scientists forever, 67 years old. All I've ever listened to is scientists, from Freddie Oil, from all of them, right through from when I was as a kid. All I've ever listened to is scientists. I've never listened to preachers. I've only ever followed science all my life, dedicated to it. And I know an intelligent man when I see one. And Graham Hancock has never said there's actually dead proof of anything. He just said this is a speculative idea that needs to be investigated. Therefore he's being scientific. The people who say, oh well, we can't think like that anymore, they're concerned because, well, their students might question them, and the students might write down an exam paper, oh well, that could be questioned, so they fail, and then they've got a debt for a failure. So it's all about that value system and identity. You've got to be identified as a graduated scientist to then give you value for the money you're paying for these universities, or basically they've transcended or regressed from places where knowledge was spreading to where knowledge is now contained and limited, because it's about brainwashing students to believe this, that, the other. Because one significant thing, climate change has meant, because of all the people who don't believe in God anymore, or so they say, whatever, they have to create another belief system to create political divisions for the New World Order. So they have to create a belief system in children, small children, about, oh, you're going to change the climate. So they've got all these kids believing they're involved in changing the climate. Well, we know damn well a comet can come along at any time and change the climate abruptly, or an ice age can come along for a pole shift and change the climate abruptly. Anything can change the climate abruptly, or within 5 years. That has nothing to do with man. Knowledge is an open-ended avenue to the unknown. When you block that avenue off and say this is all that can be known, that's religious. Nothing to do with God anymore. It's all to do with money and control. God was always about controlling with religion. Now it's gone to universities and become the new high priests, the new cathedrals, the religious entities of our societies. And now these universities will say your knowledge is limited and only scientists know anything. Don't listen to anyone else out there, because you might get a brain of your own, and that's the last thing these people want. God bless you, Graham Hancock. You're bloody brilliant, mate.